All right, we're going to go ahead and start 7-5 scale drawings. All right, so what you're going to see in scale drawings is they'll give you a scale, like for every 1 inch on a map that represents a mile, or every 1 inch on a map represents 3 miles, okay? So you may see something like this. The scale 1 inch is 3 miles. Okay, that's considered a scale. You can't see these dots. Okay, so what they'll ask you is they'll ask you to figure out, okay, you measure with the ruler on the map, okay, what is the actual distance between, I don't know, Omaha and Lincoln. Okay, so you'll measure, say you measure with the ruler, you get, okay, well, that's 3 and no, that's, well, not 3 inches won't work. That's about 20 inches. Okay, so how you solve for that is you're going to set up a proportion. Okay, and we'll set up as a fraction 1 inch. And remember, it's very important you keep the same units consistent. 1 inch is equal to 3 miles. Okay, I'm writing the same proportion, just in this in fraction form. Okay, so we're going to set an equivalent fraction to figure out, okay, so I measured, I got 20 inches, how many miles is that? So we're going to set an equivalent fraction, and, well, I measured 20 inches, so think, is that going to go on the top or the bottom? It's going to go on the top because it's inches on top, miles on bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and then do 20 inches, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and solve, well, if 1 inch is 20 inches, what would I need to do to figure out the 3 miles? Well, probably just eyeballing that, you know, well, that's times 20. So I'm going to do 3 miles times 20, and the 20 inches represents 60 miles, and that would be my answer. Okay? Now, sometimes they're not quite so friendly. I kind of gave you a really easy scale there with 1 inch. Okay, but sometimes they're going to be kind of wonky, like, let's do 2 inches is equivalent to 15 miles. Okay? Again, if they give you something like that, just set it up as a proportion. Okay, we got the 2 inches over 15 miles. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and measure. I measure and I get 77 inches. All right. So how long does that, what does that represent? Okay, again, inches, inches, miles, miles. So this is my answer. Okay, so looking at this, you remember with the last one, we were able to just do times whatever to get that. Well, 2 times, it's not going to be a whole number, is it? Because 2 times whatever doesn't equal 77. So in the case like this, what do we need to do when they don't go equally into each other? We need to use cross products. So we're going to go ahead and do cross products to solve for this unknown. So we're going to do 15 times 77. All right, 15 times 77. Is this still on? Yeah. All right, so now my problem is, instead of a question mark, I'll put an x. 2x is equal to 1, 1, 5, 5. Okay, my next step in solving a cross product is I need to go ahead and solve for x. So I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2. All right. Okay, in this case, we knew it wasn't going to come out even. So we need to go ahead and just start dropping a 0, and then we get a 0.5. Okay, so in this case, 77 inches using this scale is equal to 577.5 miles. All right, so again, if they give you a scale, write it as a fraction, and then just solve an equivalent fraction over here, either using cross products or just going across. That's how you use a scale. And really the tricky thing with that is just putting everything in the right spot. Once you have it in the right spot, you should probably know at this point how to solve that. Now they may say, okay, well, write each scale as a ratio, okay? So they may say, well, I've got a 10-inch long drawing, okay, so it's 10 inches long, and that actually represents a 40-foot thing. Okay, so 10-inch represents a 40 foot thing. Okay, they want you to write that as a ratio. Okay, well, and they're going to want to do it in simplest form. You can do 10 inches, 40 foot, but there's got to be an a simpler way to write that. Okay, so to think about it as a fraction, writing it in simplest form. Well, if 10 inches equals 40 foot, we can divide both by 10, right? So that would mean 1 inch represents 4 feet. And that would be so much easier to use that as a scale versus 10 inch equals 40 feet. Okay, so they'll have you solve for distances or solve for the scale, or they'll have you just write the scale in simplest form. But other than that, I think you should be set for the worksheet.